Hi friends, and welcome to my quilt room. And welcome to Tuesday Threads, Beyond the Quilt. So I thought I would start this new series because back in December, right before Christmas, I put out a video that I did a few little projects for like gift giving and things. And it went over really well. And I thought we give gifts all year long, not just at Christmas. So why not do a series every week where I bring you a little project, a little handmade gift that you can give for gift giving. I mean, we have birthdays, anniversaries that you may want to give a little handmade something with maybe a store-bought gift. Also, we have baby showers, gifts for babies being born, so many gift opportunities through the year, right? So, and also, these are things that you could also make for yourself or your family, your kids, your spouse. So I thought I would do this weekly series, put it all in a playlist, and then you can come back to it anytime you want and just sift through and see if there's something in there that you would want to give as a little piece of yourself to somebody as a gift or just because. Now, this is going to be in addition to my weekly video that I bring to you on my Quilt As You Go. So I hope you enjoy this series. Now, today we're going to do a little project, and it's a little phone holder. This is so cute. And I'll bring you overhead to show you more, but it holds your phone like this. How cute is this? And I also did out of like this suede, not a suede, like a faux leather um, one for if you wanted to do one for a more masculine gift for a guy. I know I showed my spouse this and he absolutely loved it. So I know he'll be using this. So let me bring you overhead and I'll show you how to put this project together and what we need to do it. Okay, so for this project, I'm using this fabric, and this is from Hobby Lobby. I got this. And what you'll need for this is a piece of that fabric, whatever fabric you're using. It's 5 inches wide and 13 inches long. You'll also need some polyfill or any kind of fill that you use. Sometimes I know people that go to like thrift stores or wherever and buy pillowcases and pull the stuffing out of that, depending um, on what you have or what you need to buy. And then you'll need some rice or some kind of filler for a little bit of filler for this. You can also use walnut shells, crushed walnut shells, or you can get like pellets for stuffing. So whatever you have. I don't have any of that, so I am using rice. So now let's get started. First thing we want to do is lay this right side down, and we want to fold this up about an inch. And it doesn't have to be exact. That looks good to me. And I can measure it on my mat here. So let's see. And that looks good. And then we're going to turn it around and we're going to measure an inch here also. So again, I will just estimate an inch. And that looks fine. So I'm going to iron this down. Okay, so now we want to flip that over and match up those seams, those edges. And I'm going to crease that bottom. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take our ruler and we want to measure 1 inch up from the bottom. So now we want to grab a marking tool. I'm just going to use my friction pen. It's going to be on the inside, so no one's really going to see this. But you can use any tool you want. And what we're going to do is we're going to open these flaps up at the top. And we're going to sew from this edge. We're going to sew on this side. We're going to sew from this line all the way up to the top. So like I'll just mark it for you. You don't have to mark this, but you're going to do a 1/4 inch, but I want you to see where exactly we're going to sew. So we're going to sew that all the way up. Okay, now on this side, we're going to sew the whole thing. Again, you do not have to mark this. I'm just showing you where to sew. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense. So we're going to sew from this mark that we just made all the way up to the edge. And then on this side, we're going to sew from the bottom all the way to the top. And this will make sense as we go through it. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have that sewn down. I'm just going to get rid of my marks. And now what we want to do is we want to turn this inside out, or I should say right side out. So now I'm just going to flip this out. And we want to poke that corner out. Of course, we just have one corner because the other side is open. So let me poke that out. And of course, this side is still open because we didn't sew that side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to iron this down so it's nice and crisp. So let me take it to my iron. And then I'm going to do the same with the other side. And this side is the side we have open. See, I stick my finger in there. So you just want to make sure that that is folded in. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to fold in this top piece. And that's why we did the, we folded that down an inch. So it folds in there nicely. And you just want to make sure that nothing is puckering on the inside. Now I'm going to just iron that top. Make sure it's nicely pressed down. Now when you're sewing this, any of these seams, you want to back stitch on everything just to make sure that it stays. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to measure from the bottom of our, this is our opening at the top, measure from the bottom 1 inch up, and we're going to draw a line. And then from there, we're going to measure a 1/2 inch up from that line that we just drew, and we're going to mark that. So now we're going to take this to the machine and we're going to sew on these lines. So I'm going to take this to the machine and I'm going to sew these 2 lines and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have those stitched and I'm just going to iron that to get the marks out. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to open this pocket here and we're going to start stuffing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the polyfill and put that at the bottom, just a small layer, and sort of spread it out. Again, this gives it the stability to sit up. And I'm going to take my rice and I'm going to pour some rice in there. You can see, not too much. And then I think I need some more. I'm going to put some polyfill on top of that. Okay, now what we want to do is, and just stuff it to where you're comfortable. Instead of sewing it this way, we're going to turn it so that it's like sideways, and we're going to match those seams up. And now we're going to stitch this top, and I'm just going to grab some pins or clips, sorry, we say pins. I'm going to grab my clips and I'm going to clip this top. So that's even. And again, with back stitching, when I start and stop, I'm going to just top stitches, like just 1/8 of an inch right along here. Now, it's not that hard to put this through. If you just, as you can see, if you just push down you have plenty of room to get that under your foot. So just take your time and then stitch across. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I did my top stitch right across, and now we have our little triangle. And now all we need to do is to stuff this bottom part. So we're going to open up that hole that we left. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to first put some polyfill down there. This is a little trickier, so I just take little bits and I just sort of push that in. Sometimes I'll take a, whoopsie, sometimes I'll take a tool and just help me push it in once I get it started. There we go. Okay, so we have a little bit down there, and then I'm going to put some rice. Now, for this, I use a little funnel, and I just hold that real tight, and I'll just pour some rice in there. I'll just feel it a little bit more. Doesn't take much. Okay. And then I'll just take another little piece of the polyfill and put that in there. Okay, so now what we want to do is we just want to take this to the machine, and we want to just top stitch this little piece here, and then we'll be done. So I'll be right back after I do that. Okay, so we have that all filled, and I top stitched right here, and now we have our little stand. This goes together so quickly, and there you go. Put your phone on it. Also, I have this Kindle. Now mine's in a case, but if I was to take this out of the case, and if you didn't have a case for it, and I'll just leave it in the case for now, but you could see that holds it too, and even with the case. So there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed that little project, and I just think these are so adorable, and they come together in no time at all. I literally made all these 3 today, but they're really cute, and like I said, they can hold a Kindle, they can hold a phone. And my husband laughed at me because I said, you can lay in bed with this and put it on your chest and then just sit there and read your phone. So I thought that was funny. So yes, I hope you'll stay tuned for next week when we have another Tuesday Threads project. I hope you'll come back for the regular Quilt As You Go tutorial in a couple days. And until I see you next week, happy sewing and sew something happy.